Hello, greetings, and welcome to Storytelling Session. Today, we will listen to the story Milaap written by Munshi Premchand. Lala Gyan Chand was sitting and reviewing accounts when his son, Babu Nanik Chand, came and said, "Grandfather, I've been sitting here for a long time and I'm getting bored. If you permit, I will go for a trip to Kashmir and will return in 2 months." Nanik Chand was a well-mannered young man. He had a pale complexion with faint dark circles around his eyes, and his shoulders were slightly hunched. Gyan Chand looked at him sharply and sarcastically asked, "What, are you finding this place boring?" Gyan Chand had tried many times to guide his son along the right path but had failed. His scolding, admonitions, and explanations were of no use. His company wasn't good, and he indulged in drinking and other pleasures. Gyan Chand didn't like this new proposal, but Nanik Chand, well aware of his father's mood, confidently responded, "I don't feel like staying here anymore. I've heard a lot of praise for Kashmir. I'm thinking of going there." Gyan Chand replied with disdain, "Very well, go ahead, but don't come back and disturb me." Nanik Chand, with a smile, took the money and left. Gyan Chand had always been unable to stop his son's actions. He was a single child and his father was getting weak, so he reluctantly handed over the money. That day, Nanik Chand left for Kashmir. But Nanik Chand didn't go alone. His love life had also been successful. Nanik Chand had fallen in love with Lalita, the widow of his neighbor, Babu Ram Das. Lalita was simple and naive. She would work in her house during the day and go to the office in the evening. Nanik Chand, however, would sit at his place, sending signals of love to her. Eventually, Lalita, moved by his attention, agreed to elope with him. One night, Lalita, dressed in a sari, was restless in her bed, thinking about running away. She kept her jewels in a box and kept glancing around. Her heart was racing with excitement and fear, but there was no suspicion of betrayal from Nanik Chand. She believed that the greatest gift in youth was love, and she felt lucky to have found it. Around midnight, there was a knock on the door. Lalita got up, picked up the jewelry box, glanced around longingly, and quietly unlocked the door. Nanik Chand entered, and they both left. The next morning, Babu Ram Das woke up and found that Lalita was missing. He searched the house in panic but couldn't find her. When he saw the unlocked door, he noticed footprints leading outside. He sat down, heartbroken, but didn't know whom to share his grief with. He made up a story, claiming that she had gone to her maternal home. However, when Gyan Chand heard about the situation, he was furious. He realized that the trip to Kashmir meant something entirely different. Slowly, the news spread across the neighborhood, and eventually, Babu Ram Das, in his shame and grief, committed suicide. Nanik Chand was oblivious to the consequences of his actions. When he was with Lalita, all he cared about was being with her, having her by his side. He was lost in the passion of youth and had no thoughts of consequences, law, or morality. He left his plans for Kashmir and instead went to Calcutta. His wealth, which he had accumulated over time, was spent within 2 months on Lalita's jewels. Then came a time when Nanik Chand, feeling some shame, wrote a letter to his father, cursing his love for Lalita. He assured him that he was eager to return and beg for his forgiveness. His father, relieved to know that Nanik Chand was alive and well, sent him some money with a letter advising him not to return yet, as he was causing a lot of shame. Nanik Chand spent 3 years in Calcutta. During this time, his life started to settle. He had a beautiful daughter, named Kamla. However, after 3 years, Gyan Chand passed away, as is the natural age of wealthy men in India. When Nanik Chand received this news, he went to Lalita and cried bitterly, realizing the new challenges life had presented him. During this period, Nanik Chand's previous addictions and desires began to fade. His thoughts were now focused on managing his property in Benares, otherwise it would all be lost. But he couldn't bring Lolita with him, as doing so would stir up old memories and bring shame to his family. Besides, he now desired legal heirs, which was impossible if he continued his relationship with Lolita. He decided to leave Lolita behind and make his life in Benares. But fate had something else in mind. He reached Benares, only to find himself in a dilemma when his feelings for Lolita resurfaced. Despite all his previous attempts to forget her, her image remained etched in his heart. He found himself traveling to Calcutta once again. After searching for his old house in the city, he found it and asked a neighbor about the residence. The neighbor informed him that a widow lived there with her daughter. As soon as Nanik Chand saw the daughter, he recognized her as Kamla. He was overcome with emotions and tears welled up in his eyes. He asked the girl to inform her mother, and soon Lolita appeared at the door, veiled. Though her beauty had faded, she still held some charm. Nanik Chand, seeing her, felt an overwhelming urge to embrace her, but he controlled himself. Lolita, seeing him, was astonished, as she had never expected him to return after all these years. She, too, was moved by the sight of Nanik Chand and expressed her desire to go with him. But Nanik Chand, aware of his past mistakes and his current life, could not take her with him. He had come to understand that his life had changed and that he could no longer live the way he had before. Their past love, which had once been filled with passion and dreams, now seemed like a distant memory, overshadowed by the harsh realities of life. Lolita, too, understood the bitter truth, and with a heavy heart, both of them let go of the past.